here, the power of branding today in the 305 Office podcast, and I'm gonna talk about this 18% of people that likes and subscribe to this channel because I am really promising to make the best content and bring the best people here to talk about things that matters. And thank you very much, Bruce Turkel, for being here today. How are you, Bruce?
I am doing great. And those of you who are not subscribing, if you know how hard this man works to set this up, to arrange it, to make sure the guests are going to be here, to check my lighting, to check my mic, everything, you would sign up just out of gratitude because I do a lot of these and Simon has just done a spectacular job.
Thank you, Bruce. So, I'm not right now. We're gonna tell the people how can we attract attention today, Bruce. And one of the things that are so what can I do, the entrepreneurs and clients tell me, what is the greatest hook, how can I get the attention? So I have a hook for you, so Bruce, and you're gonna tell me about what do you think about it in a world where everyone's fighting for attention. The smartest companies are louder, they're clearer. Today we're joined by branding expert Bruce Turkel to explore how storytelling and strategy create business intelligence you can actually use.
I, I don't even need to say anything now. You just explained it. Storytelling, strategy, branding, that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all. And also getting there, Bruce. One of those things that actually you love about work is how you always bring it back, the story from the people, and not just selling products. So telling the story. Why is this, that story is more powerful than just information or just features?
Information's easy. You can simply look at a website, read a book, look at notes, and you can get information. And if people only want information, they have no need for what you are offering because in the post information age, which is where we are today, information is free. Everybody has access to information. There's plenty of information out there. So, what has to happen is that information has to be transferred to your customers, your clients, your consumers, and more importantly, your potential customers, clients, and consumers in a way that they can acknowledge, they can internalize, and they can respond to. And put simply, since the beginning of time, since the beginning of human time on this planet, that has been done by telling stories. Whether it was our ancestors as cavemen sitting around a fire outside the cave, talking about how they were going to hunt the woolly mammoth tomorrow, as their grandfathers had done, and tell the stories that got these people into the mood they needed to be in to go and attack these giant animals so that they could eat, or whether it's the stories that people used for discovery, for a building, for creating things around the world throughout history, whether it's the story told by storytellers, authors, poets, painters, sculptors, or whether it's the story that your parents told you about where you come from, who you are, why you matter, who your people are. It's stories that have driven
And how,
all of the great
Bru-
successes that we have accomplished.
Bruce, how we can meet in. I have sometimes these opinions. So sometimes they were like shocked between, okay, I'm gonna tell a story for my brand, for what I'm selling, what I'm trying to engage with people, but there's something that is the professionals, the community managers that make that make the all the information together to put it in social media, they sometimes they feared about, hey, let's be very careful on religion and politics. What's your take about this matter? It's a sometimes it can be attraction, or it's very it can be dangerous.
It depends. Two things. Well, three really. It depends, first of all, what you're selling. It depends who you are as a person or a company, what your values are, what you believe in, what matters to you, what your goals are. And then it also depends on who your audience is and what they're going to respond to. On the one hand, there's an old saying that says there's no frontier in the middle. So not taking a side means that you're not really taking a position. But on the other hand, we've all heard the expression that the longest flower gets cut off in the field. So there can be danger to also doing that. I think the answer to your question is not a universal answer. It depends. How do you build your business? How do you want to be seen? How do you want people to respond to you? In some cases, by making a political or religious statement, you're going to bring people closer to you because they appreciate your values and they want to be part of who you are. On the other hand, there are going to be plenty of people, more and more these days, I have to say, who would be not only less interested in your product, but actually might be angry and go against what it is you're offering. And that's just the external audiences you deal with. How about your employees? How about your partners? How about your vendors? How about the people you do business with? Do you want to take a stand where they say, okay, this is who you are, and this is why I'm going to do business with you or not do business with you? Or do you want to say, I'm open and I'm all encompassing? Each situation is different. But to your point, it is something worth spending a lot of time thinking about and being consistent about. Because the worst thing you can do is change courses in the middle of a stream. Change horses in the middle of a stream is the saying. And then confuse people or anger both sides because you don't actually support either one of them.
Exactly. That's so important. And Bruce, what's what's your purpose in life?
That's an interesting question. Mark Twain said the two most important days in your life are the day you're born and the day you figure out why. Now, the first one's easy. You had no control over it, and you know when it is, unless you were born and no one wrote it down. But you know when you were born. Knowing why is not such an easy thing to figure out, and chances are nobody's going to figure it out before the end of their life. However, the one thing that I have learned in my experience that at least gets you close to figuring out what it is, it's four simple words: live your own life. I believe that for happiness, fulfillment, love, success, all those things, what matters more than anything else is knowing who you are, what you want, what you don't want, and how you can move forward to accomplish those things. So if you live your own life, it means you're not living the life that your parents wanted you to live. You're not living the life that a religious leader wanted you to live. You're not living the life that a spouse, a boyfriend, a girlfriend, a husband, a wife, a partner wanted you to live. You're not living the life that a guidance counselor in high school told you you should be doing. You're living your own life. And if you do that, then you'll figure out what's most important to you.
That's totally right. And also, Bruce, today everything every entrepreneur, it's just competing for attention, as we talk, and in podcasts, in ads. From your experience or perspective, what's the smartest way for small or medium business to stand out without having $1 million budget?
This time it's only three words. It was the title of one of my books, All About Them. All about them. Stop talking about yourself. Stop talking about your business. Stop talking about your successes, your accomplishments. Doing business, marketing business, is not like a bad blind date where all your date does is talk about themselves, or if you're the bad blind date, all you do is talk about yourself. Instead, you need to talk about why you matter to your customer. What is it that you do? What is it that you sell that makes their lives better? What problems do you solve for them?
And actually, the way you were talking about this box, how the company for rings, they do it, the box, and it's everything. The box, it makes all the work for selling. How you present
So
your
the story
service,
you're
or
talking about is when we saw each other last time, and I was telling a story about wedding rings and how wedding
wedding
rings
rings.
are really only worth, as a product, they're only worth what they
And
weigh.
actually, thank you for being there in our Rotary meeting in Coral Gables in the Hyatt. Thank you very much. It was a great master class.
That's a
That
pleasure. That's how we met. That's why I'm here. So these opportunities
exactly.
all come from being out there. The idea was that these products here are only worth the weight times the price in gold. That's it. There's nothing else, and it doesn't actually do anything. You put it on your finger. It tells your world you're married. But your marriage is not good or bad because you wear one of these. The vows you took at your wedding you don't live up to or violate because you wear one of these. This doesn't actually do anything. It's just decorative. However, what we talked about was the company that takes these and then puts them in a blue box with a white ribbon on top, and instantly they're more valuable. And the company, of course, is Tiffany. And the idea is that everything inside that box, whether it's jewelry or it's a watch or it's cut glass crystal or it's a fountain pen or it's beautiful stationery or whatever it is more valuable because of the presentation. It's more valuable because of the experience. When you buy something from that company and you present it to somebody that you love, just giving them the gift in the box with the ribbon creates an experience that adds value. It makes you more valuable to the person you're giving it to because you're demonstrating the amount of trouble, expense that you went to, how much this mattered to you. And it says something to them because of that experience. But the truth is, the box itself really doesn't make this product any different. And yet it's the highest quality, of course, but there's plenty of places you can buy high quality wedding rings. But you're creating an experience, you're adding value, and you're making it all about them.
And yeah, all about them is this book, great book, and how the business, Bruce, the business actually, and the a business owner right now on a daily basis, how can we apply maybe for a website, for a marketing campaign, or for a sales conversation? After that story, after that, the way we should get into in front of our audience in this looking to really go ahead and have the opportunity to serve them.
Well, the meeting where you and I met, before I had gone, I had asked the organizers for a list of the people who would be there. And so, and don't worry, I'm not going to embarrass anybody, but I went to each one of their websites and I looked at their websites and I looked at them to specifically to see what they said. And pretty much what they said was they each described the company, how many locations, what products we sell, what our story is. We talked about story earlier, where we're from. But not one of them said anything about the customer. Not one of them said why we fulfill our purpose by making your life better. So if you want to buy a product that one of them sold, you'll go on the website, you'll look at it, and boom, you know what it is. Okay. But there's lots of companies that sell the stuff these companies sold. There were realtors, there was a florist, there was a candy company, there were some attorneys, there was a bunch of different businesses. But those businesses all sell essentially the same products as their competition. Not one talked about the customer. And it's such a simple change, but it makes such a profound difference if you talk about the customer. If you look at Apple ads, and we all know that Apple is one of the greatest marketers of all time, their ads show their customers. They show the people who do business with Apple. The products sometimes are in the ads and sometimes are not. But what's always in the ad
But
are people whose lives are better.
now, Bruce, what do you think of you as a brand expert? I don't know. I also well I see right now there is I think in my perspective, I think it's like there's like a shifting in branding right now because well, I was watching an Apple ad days ago, and the brand is a little bit on the side, more than just going into a story. What you're telling us, a story of what's happening here, and the hooks, and but I see, for example, Tesla in the Cybertruck, no brand. In the newest models, you barely see the Tesla. And it's like there is like a trend, or what do you think about that? That this unbrandification, I think the word.
Well, I think there's very different reasons for both of them. Apple has always made a point that having an Apple product, whether it's a laptop or it's the AirPods or it's your iPad or of course the iPhone, says something about who you are as a consumer. And so they have to be careful that they don't create something that overshadows the consumer, which is why their design is so restrained. It's so clean, it's so crisp, because it's all about creating a frame for your life. Tesla's very different. First of all, the Tesla Cybertruck was created to look like nothing else on the road. The idea being you don't need a logo, because as soon as you see it, you know what it is. But now let's face it, back to your question about politics, Tesla has another problem. With what Elon Musk did in the government and with Doge, Tesla has some supporters, and Tesla has a lot of people who absolutely dislike them and don't want anything to do with them and don't want to drive their cars or use their products. And ironically, the people who would support Elon Musk and his political leanings don't tend to drive electric cars. So when Musk took that position, he was actually chasing away a lot of his customers. One of the things they did was they reduced the Tesla branding on the products. They also, you'll notice on the backs, they spread the letters out. So instead of it saying Tesla, it's Tesla, which makes it harder to read because they wanted to make it less obvious that that's what the product was.
Right. And talking about the brand and the investment that you make in a brand, because you tell us in your book is all about them, but we make investments, big investment as entrepreneurs or whatever, in our branding, our logo, and our stuff, and see and just differentiate ourselves with. And I see the case for Twitter, for example, how much it was the branding for Twitter from the day the creation of this app, and then okay, let's do X. It's like, okay, let's make the principles for marketing and for everything so gone. I don't know. It's a vision. I think it's a shift as I'm for in my perspective.
I think it's important to keep in mind that Elon Musk has a number of companies, the Boring Company, SpaceX, the satellite company, the satellite communication company, and he's making so much money with those businesses that perhaps he doesn't care as much what happens with X, Twitter, what happens with Tesla. If you were a Tesla investor, if you were a Twitter investor, you'd probably be very upset about it. But keep in mind that he has a very large array of companies, And so he's probably looking at what are his most important investments and where does he make the most. I assume. I don't know. He doesn't call me to discuss it with me.
For um, Bruce Turkel perspective, after after you telling people all about them, all about the clients, after that, talking about the mistake, the big mistake all everyday people do, or your clients do, or people do in marketing, after caring about them and not about the clients. What's the biggest mistake for Bruce Turkel, or a big experience that you got on that regards of mistakes in branding or marketing?
I'm not sure I understand your question. Are you asking me what's the biggest mistake I think I made, or
Biggest
what is the
mistake
biggest mistake
after,
that I see out there?
because I am understanding that for you, one the main big mistake is focusing on the company and not about focusing on the clients. That's
Right.
big mistake. After this big mistake, what will be another big mistake or another experience that you got, or
That's fair. I think the big mistake that a lot of companies make, professionals make, is believing that anyone cares about their business. Believing that there's no competition. I can't tell you how many times I've worked with a potential client. I'm saying, so tell me about your business, and they're telling me, and tell me what makes you special, and they're telling me, and tell me about your competition, and they say, oh, we have no competition. I say, really? Oh no, nobody does what we do, nobody makes what we make, nobody does it the way we do it. That's wrong on so many levels. First of all, there's almost no product you can make that nobody else makes. Okay, if you're Madonna in her ultimate moment when she was the biggest star in the world, or you're Stallone, or you're pick whatever star you like, Dua Lipa, then okay, at that moment perhaps no one can do what you do. But the truth is, there's always someone else. There's always another company. There's always another opportunity. Number two, even though no one does exactly what you do, the money that someone's going to spend to buy what you do, they could spend on something else. They could decide, yeah, I could buy Simon's services, or I could take my family on a cruise for the weekend. So even though you're not in the cruise business, you still compete with where those discretionary dollars are going to be spent. And too many people don't think about that. They just think about, what's that old saying? If you build it, they will come, from the movie. Or there's an even older saying, if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. It's not true. If you build a better mousetrap, you'll have a lot of dead mice. It doesn't mean anybody's going to buy it, because nobody cares. And so what you have to do is step out of your ego, step out of your focus, step out of your daily operations, and instead explain to people why you matter to them.
why is that? Why is that? Yes. And also, right now, every single one is talking about AI, artificial intelligence. From your perspective, Bruce, how do you see branding evolving with these new tools? And actually, do they help us connect better, or do they risk making communications less human, maybe?
So, Simon, two things can be true at once. Both of what you said are true. They help us connect because they are tools we can use to be better at what we do, and they can remove the human element from the interaction. Those things are not mutually exclusive. If you think all the way back to Gutenberg invented the printing press. Back then, the number one book that was created was the Bible, and they were created in monasteries where monks with pens would actually write them by hand, scribes. And so when Gutenberg created the printing press, the Catholic Church said it was the work of the devil, because the printing press was going to replace all of these scribes. Very similar to what people are saying about AI. But then what they realized was the printing press could create Bibles at an exponentially larger number and exponentially faster than a room full of scribes. Plus, you didn't have to feed the printing press, and you didn't have to house it, and you didn't have to do all those things. Again, similar to AI. And so then the Catholic Church embraced Gutenberg because they could distribute more Bibles using the tool. And so then he became a lord. He was given all sorts of special pensions. He was given land. He was given money because they realized that the tool, on the one hand, made the interaction less human. You didn't have humans lettering the books anymore. But on the other hand, it was a useful tool to get the books out into the hands of more and more people, which is what their goal was. So AI can reduce the human input and the human output because now computers, artificial intelligence, are doing the work that people used to do. On the other hand, it allows you to be more productive, more accurate, because you can do much greater levels of research than you could do before. It allows you to have all sorts of other skills. Like, I can't write code, but I can use Perplexity to write code that I can put into my website. I don't need to know how to do it. By the way, you're a musician. I see the guitar behind you. If you're working on a song and then you think, you know what, this is a little too high for my voice, I want to transpose it. Well, you could use a capo, and then you figure out, okay, 2 steps up, I can do it better. You can just take that music, put it into ChatGPT and say, transpose this for me, and
That's it.
it does it. And then I say, I have a hard time playing that chord, that B chord. How else can I play it? And it shows me 17 other ways to play it. I still have to do the work.
And this is not financial advice, but in this podcast for business intelligence, I'm gonna say invest in AI and leverage on AI, but don't fear AI. That's the message.
Fearing it is a useless emotion, because people say, well, yeah, I'm not going to use it because it's just a fad.
Be careful.
What's that?
Being careful about that.
Yeah, it's not a fad.
Don't ignoring it, but learning.
Learn about it. Figure out how you can use it to accomplish what you want to do.
Bruce, we're running out of time, but this conversation has been so great. But I wanna know a great book for Bruce Turkel, a book that changed your life, maybe. I don't know. After your book.
Well, there's a lot of them, and I've read a lot of fascinating ones recently. I read a lot, but a book I really enjoyed is a book called Richer, Wiser, Happier. It's about investing. I will tell you, I don't have that much interest in investing. I don't know very much about it, and I don't understand it. But what the author did was he spoke to, I think, 30 of the top investors, ones you've heard of, like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger and the guy who started Templeton, whose name is Templeton. And he spoke to a bunch you've never heard of. And he had them talk about their strategies for investments and their strategies for life. And as I said, I'm not that interested in the investment side. I wish I was. I have a lot more money. But I'm very interested in their strategies for life. And I found it fascinating how these guys think and how they have throughput from their work, their investments, who they are on this planet, and what they want to accomplish. And so I recommend it highly. I thought it was a great book. Richer, Wiser, Happier.
Bruce Turkel that's a question you answer if you want. So it's a question for our podcast. It's the production of the podcast. So Bruce Turkel have Bitcoin, yes or not, or reasons or whatever you want.
No.
No, perfect. All right, great. Bruce, also thank you for sharing so much wisdom today. For those listening who want to go deeper, where is the best place where they can reach Bruce Turkel?
It's very easy.
BruceTurkel.com?
BruceTurkel.com. There's videos. They can click on the blog section. I write a blog post on these things every week. They're all there. You can sign up and it'll be sent to you. I don't sell anything. It's not there to cost you money. It's there to give you information. And so I do this every week, and it's all on my website. Just my name, BruceTurkel.com.
Great. So I hope you're liking and subscribing, and if you made it from this point of the video, thank you very much. I love you so much, all the people. Thank you, Bruce Turkel, and until the next time.